Where else would we be? Anguilla. And welcome to today's flight aboard Anguilla Air Services. We are heading to St. Barts today. So let's turn the rotating beacon on. Mixtures to idle. Props full forward. Let's turn the master and battery switches on. Let's turn the fuel pumps on. Let's open the fuel valves. Let's prime the engines. 1, 2, 3, and 4 shots of throttle. Okay, now let the throttle's open about 10%. Let's turn the mags on. Alright, now let's hit the starboard start button. Engine comes in. Pull forward on the mixture. Oil pressure is good. Let's hit the port engine starter button. Engine kicks over and the mixture comes in full rich. Oil pressure there is good. Turn the fuel pumps off. See the fuel pressure drop, but the pressure's okay. Alright, avionics master is on. The reason why you want to check the oil pressure as soon as you get the engines turning is because if you don't have any oil pressure, your engines are being damaged. And you don't want to be running your engines without any oil, do you? So I do believe we actually have a controller today on VATSIM, so 118.15 is the frequency for San Juan approach and San Juan center, and we do. Alright, cool. So we got the frequency tuned in. Let's lean the mixtures for taxi. Let's turn the nav and strobe lights on. Let's turn the taxi light on. Engage the brakes. Let's close the starter hood cover there. Alright, I'm going to engage the brakes. Release the parking brake. Alright, and let's get the airplane rolling here. Once we're rolling, that's right, we test the brakes, because if your brakes aren't working, you want to know. That's a habit I will never be able to get out of, whether it's flight simulation or not, makes no difference. Alright, so runway 11 is the runway for departure today. Be ready to go here once we call over. Let's turn our landing light on. Always want the landing light on under 10,000 feet. Put in that notch of flaps. Hit the fuel pumps. Okay, so I just need to go mixture rich and we're ready to go. So let me call San Juan Center. San Juan Center, good afternoon, Anguilla 264.
Anguilla 264, San Juan.
San Juan, Anguilla 264 on the ground at CJ Lloyd. We are VFR to St. Barts, ready for takeoff.
Anguilla 264. Backtrack runway 11 via Alpha and come by. Okay, CJ QNH 1017.
1017, and we can take an intersection departure here from Alpha for Anguilla 264.
Go 264, wind 09015, runway 11 Alpha, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 11, Angular 264. And as usual, we get superb service from the VASM controllers. These guys are fantastic. So we don't see anything on final. Runway looks clear. Let's put the mixtures full forward. Props are full forward. The fuel pumps are on. Okay. So he asked us to back taxi, but we don't need to. So that's what you do with ATCs. Just tell them what you need. Tell them what you can do, and they are generally pretty accommodating. All right. Runway 11 checks for the heading. We're going to apply the brakes. Full forward with the power. Takeoff power is set. Engine instruments all in the green. So let's release the brakes and off we go. Airspeed is already alive. 60, 70 knots and rotate. So alright, a couple hundred feet AGL. Let's put those flaps up. Come back to 2,500 on the power. 2,500 on the prop RPM. It's actually 25 inches of manifold pressure on the power. It's not 2,500. I always say 2,500, but that's not what it is. So we're climbing at 90. Are 1,000 feet AGL, so turn off our fuel pumps. Check our fuel pressure. Fuel pressures are good. And we're going to reach 1,500 feet pretty quick here today. I think what I'm going to do is climb up to 3,000.
I go 264, unfortunately, I have to close at the moment. I'm on Unicom, sir.
Okay, Angular 264, I'll go over to the CTAF. Thanks so much for your help this evening.
No problem, thanks for fine.
Alright, so.
JetBlue 881, close.
He's bagging it, which is fun. You guys probably gotta go to dinner. And so, we go over to CTAF. Big deal. CTAF, which stands for Common Traffic Advisory Frequency. That's exactly what it's for. It's for traffic advisories. I broadcast my position. Other pilots broadcast their position. And we all know where each other are. Alright, 100 to go. Start bringing the nose down. Start reducing the power to 23 inches of manifold pressure. 2,300 RPM on the props. Push the nose over. Roll in some trim. At this point, you just want to make like what we call a gross trim adjustment, which is just a rough adjustment to where you think it's going to need to be. And you're going to fine tune it later. So 23, oops, that's the wrong level. Alright, about 23 squared there. 2,300 on the manifold pressure. Okay, so now let's get nose down, roll in a little bit more trim. Here is the beautiful island of St. Martin. The French side right here that we're looking at, there's Grand Casse Airport. The valley over there. 23 squared ought to give us about 130 knots, which is exactly what it's giving us. See over there on the far side of the island, that's Philipsburg. That is the capital on the Dutch side. At the far end there, that runway is Grand Cas, which is the capital of the French side. Kind of weird that it's that the island is, you know, divided between the two. Not really sure what the history is as far as that goes. See Saba off there in the distance. See the beautiful coast there and the water masking, as the kids call it. Alright, so see there from the old GPS, we're 13.2 nautical miles from our destination. So I flew this flight yesterday, kind of on a whim, really. And I made a very nice landing. And so, basically wanted to see if that was a fluke, or if I actually figured out how to make some respectable landings in this airplane. And basically, if you can land this thing at St. Barts, you really should be able to land it pretty much anywhere, huh? Call. Standard radio calls at uncontrolled airports. You want to call, make your first radio call 10 nautical miles from the airport. See some traffic over there at our 11. I've got live traffic enabled, so there's a decent chance that that is an actual aircraft. It might even be Blackfin. Blackfin, I think, is one of the coolest call signs I've ever heard. That is the call sign for St. Bart's commuter. They fly Cessna Caravans between Princess Juliana and St. Bart's. Must be kind of fun. Wonder if a job like that could get boring. It's probably not boring, but it can get monotonous or repetitive. Flying the same flight over and over and over again. Let's see what our outside air temperature is. 20 degrees Celsius. What is that in 70 degrees Fahrenheit? Sounds fair. making these notes on kind of airspeeds and power settings, and I just noticed that when I brought the power and the props from 23 squared back to 21 squared, without making any sort of other change, it's exactly a 500 foot per minute descent, which is wonderful. It's a good thing to know. Alright, so let's bring this back to 1800 now. St. Barts traffic, Anguilla 264, turning a 3-mile final for runway 10 St. Barts. Somebody right in there on short final right now. And what we want to do now, we want to go 1500. Hold that nose up. That should give us, should put us right into the flap operating range. And once it does that, I'm going to put it in notch of flaps. Turn on the fuel pumps. Mixtures are full rich. Speed back to 70 knots, which is what I want. Alright. That's pretty good. St. Barts traffic, Anguilla 264, short final, runway 10 St. Barts. Alright, we're going to put in that second notch of flaps. Push that nose forward, it's going to want to come up, and we're also going to bring that power right up to 2000. Otherwise, the airspeed is going to drop like a rock. That's not what we want. Once we get real short final, we go full power. Maybe we go full forward on the props rather. Then we're going to pull this power back to 1500. And I think I'm ready to do that. Full forward on the props. Bring the power right back to 1500. We're going to bring it to less than that because we're high, if anything. St. Barts traffic, Anguilla 264, short final, 10 St. Barts. So I've got the power completely out right now. It is in no power at all. A little bit of trim there. Dive numbers here. Out. Nice level flight attitude. And look at that. I mean, I had to let go of the brakes to make it to Charlie on that one. That was pretty sweet. I tell you, this is a very capable airplane. It really is. And St. Bart's traffic, Angle at 264 is clear of the runway, St. Bart's. So now that we're clear of the runway, let's put on the brakes. Let's turn the fuel pumps off. Mixtures are lean for taxi. Let's put those flaps up. And let's taxi to parking. I mean, that was satisfying. And that shows you the value of knowing your airplane and how it performs, right? I mean, you've got those numbers down. I've got them written right in front of my face. Makes it pretty easy. So there we go. Put on the brakes, pull the mixtures. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to St. Bart's. Beautiful day.